All right, guys, today is Wednesday, December 7th, 2022, and this morning I've pretty much decided to get back on the 55 two-door hardtop Bel Air project car here. Try to get this thing over the finish line for Darryl Starbird's annual Rod and Custom Car Show in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I wrote it down this morning. I've filled out a new board for the hardtop on what I need to do and that type of stuff, which there's going to be more that'll get added to it. Now that car show is on February 17th through the 19th in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Expo building 2023. It is an all-weekend indoor show. I do think there are a few cars outside at that show, but mine will be inside. Now, for the last couple of years, I've wanted to try to get the car in the Fine 9 category, and the reality is it's just not that level of a build. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice car. I feel like it's a nice car, but it's just not that level because a lot of the times there's grade 8 cars there, and there's no way I can compete with that. I am just a DIY amateur in the garage, and you just can't compete with that. You know what I mean? But that was what I wanted to do because in my mind, that Darryl Starbird does it with the Fine 9, like Detroit Autorama calls it the grade 8. So it's like the best 8 cars there, and then Starbird's would be the best 9 cars there. You can't show a car twice, so it'd be like first time only. So I can't, there's not going to be somebody that was in there last year in the Fine 9 and compete again this year, is what I'm saying. But anyway, it's first time shown in Tulsa, Oklahoma is what they do. Now I tried to get the car ready for that show last year, and I just didn't make it. I want to say it was the engine problems is what really put me behind, like financially and everything really kind of put me under because I had to do the engine again. But anyway, I found out some stuff. I actually called Darryl Starbird's daughter and talked to her. She's the one that actually does the show stuff. And I found out a lot of information, and that really kind of further put me out of the Fine 9 thing. Because my idea was that even if I got 9th place in the Fine 9, I would be totally good with that. But I learned that, if you don't make the Fine 9 category, you don't get to enter in any of the other classes and compete. You can put your car on display, but you can't compete in any other classes for prizes or whatever. So that kind of bummed me out. But the part that really put me out was you've got to have the fancy displays, and I don't have any of that stuff. You got to have stands and lights and mirrors and stanchions and something to put the car on, and like I'm assuming a strip of carpet or something fancy. I do not want to spend that kind of money. I don't have the money to spend anyway. I don't have that kind of money to spend on all that display crap to use at one time. You know what I mean? Because I won't ever put this car in another indoor show again anyway. So I just decided Fine 9's not for me. And it probably wouldn't win anyway. So apparently they get a lot of cars, way more than 9, and then they have to dwindle it down to 9 before the show even starts, and then go from there. So I would rather just enter the regular classes and just call it a day. And that way you're just parked with all the other cars, and they have their own stanchions. The show provides that, so I don't have to have none of that stuff. You know what I mean? So I've been working on this car for 9 years, and I have made many attempts in the past to get the car ready for certain shows. And it's actually, I think I've tried to get ready for Starbird's show every year for the past several years, and it just never happens. I've had a lot of bad luck with this car, man. But I have done everything to this car myself right here in this garage or in the driveway. This car has never left this house to have work done on it somewhere. It's been done right here by me. And it's almost here. It's almost over the finish line. And I'm doing everything to this car myself. So the only thing that I didn't do is build the speaker box. And my neighbor actually built that for me because he's a wood guy. And he built it to fit the car with my specifications and the stuff I have. And they done an awesome job on it. It turned out so awesome. I took it down and had it bedlined at a bedliner shop. So anyway, everything else was done here by me. And this car came to me in pretty much about this shape right here. It was stripped apart, no engine, no trans, no glass. The guy's truck was full of parts because he delivered it to me, the guy I bought it from. And I went from there. I even put another chassis under it and did everything. Everything right here. And I'm very proud of it. But it has been my goal to have this car at Starbird's show. So that is what I want to get done. And I think I can make it because the car is very, very close. I love setting deadlines. I've said this many times. I love to set deadlines to get one of these cars done because it just kind of helps get that kick in the pants to get out here and work on something. You know, if you don't have a deadline on something, you might walk out here and walk around the car for 30 minutes and then go back in the house, you know what I mean? But if I set a deadline, I'll, you know, bust my butt on it. Which what I usually do when I have this many days, I usually goof off, come out and piddle here and there for the first month, and then it's like, oh, I better get on it. You know what I mean? But the car wouldn't be this far if I didn't have deadlines all the way up to this point. But it is close. I still have to work the hood, get it painted and everything. I've still got to do the flippers. I've got upholstery work to do. I've got sanding and buffing to do on the body, just touch up stuff. I mean, it is close. I've put on the odometer, I checked it a while ago, I have 17 miles on the car. And that's all I've put on the car. And now I haven't had it out on the open highway at 65 yet. I've only had it up to like 50 or 55 miles an hour on paved side roads. Everything seems okay. The brakes, the steering, the engine, the trans, everything seems to be okay. Other than the speaker box is squeaking, this leaf spring has collapsed, and the sending unit leaks because they didn't solder the tube to the main plate. When I filled the gas tank up the other day, it leaked a lot of fuel out in here. So I ended up having to drain the tank. So there's not a stitch of gas in it right now, other than what's in the float bowls. But anyway, so I did something this morning that I really wish I wouldn't have done, but I needed to, you know what I mean? I went ahead and bought a replacement, same part number leaf spring as what I put under here originally, and I bought a sending unit from Speedway, both of them from Speedway, and I used my credit card because I really don't have the money this time of year, Christmas time, to be buying parts for a car. So I went ahead and credit carded it and gave myself many excuses for the reason why, and hopefully in the next couple of months I can pay that off. But anyway, so those parts should be coming. It says they'll be here Friday. I don't know if that's true or not. What really surprised me is the shipping was zero. I paid zero shipping, and I figured a leaf spring would be oversized, overweight shipping, but maybe not. So in case you didn't catch that video, when I filled the gas tank up on this car, because fuel finally got down to like 280 something, which today it's 244. I filled my truck up today. You know, that's the lowest I'd seen fuel there like a week or so ago. So I drove this car up to the gas station and I filled it completely up until it kept shutting the pump handle off. And I drove back home. The car was leaning to this side almost a full inch. It was 15/16 on the tape measure from the other side. But anyway, the gas tank on these cars favors the driver's side. The gas tanks aren't centered. So that's a lot of weight when you fill a tank up, because up to that point I'd only had like a few gallons at a time in it. And anyway, so when I filled it up, I put a lot of weight in it. What are these, 16-gallon tanks or 18? I think they're 16, I don't remember. But anyway, that's a lot of weight. And it really had this side sagging. So anyway, that's why I just bought one leaf spring. I feel like this leaf spring, there's just something defective about it, because I can put my hand on this part of the quarterback here and try to bounce it, and this side bounces a lot easier than that side. So I kind of feel like this leaf spring is just sagged out. These leaf springs I had on another 55 before this one, so if they're going to settle, they've already settled, I promise you. And they shouldn't settle that far anyway. But anyway, I got a new one coming, and hopefully that fixes my problem, and a new sending unit, so hopefully this one doesn't leak. Surprisingly, through Speedway, which they're usually a little bit cheaper on parts, the sending unit for one of these cars was 99 bucks, and I usually pay about 50 bucks, I think, at H&H for a sending unit, and which is where the one that's in the car now came from. So I was kind of thinking, in the picture, it looks like a different sending unit, like a different brand. So my idea was to pay double price. Maybe it's a little bit better quality than the one that I put in here originally. So otherwise I would have saved 50 bucks and bought it from the other company. Now I've run a lot of the other, the $50 sending units, and I've only had another one defective besides this one, which it didn't leak, it just didn't read anything on the ohm meter, so the fuel gauge didn't work, and I ended up taking it apart and fixing the contact on it. It seems like there's a, if I remember right, there's a slide clip that goes on it for the contact, and it wasn't fully pushed on, so it wasn't grounding or whatever it needs to do. And I just pushed the clip all the way up and used a hammer and a punch and knocked it on there tight, and then the fuel gauge worked after that. But I always said after that, you know, I'll bench test them before I put them in, but I didn't do it on this car. I just put the sending unit, bolted it in, and called it a day, and it bit me in the butt. So, but they didn't solder the tube where it goes into the main plate, because that's where it's coming out of, is where the tube goes into the main plate. It's coming out of that. So it's just defective in 2 areas, you know what I mean? So I just decided to buy a new one. But anyway, guys, that is the plan. Try to get the 55 hardtop ready for Darryl Starbird's car show in Tulsa. It's an all-weekend event, indoor. I'm really looking forward to it. I need to go in there and do a little bit more research. I don't know. They usually have quite a few car celebrities there. I don't know who's going to be there this year. I have met a lot of celebrity car stuff people through the years at that show. I've been there almost every year since the early 1990s, except 2 years. 1 year I was sick and the other year was icy. But you know, I usually go and I'm only there a few hours and then I come back home. This will be the first time I get to camp out there. You know, I've got a pass where I can stay there, but I doubt I want to stay there all day. You know what I mean? I am pretty interested in meeting some guys. I've got a couple of guys that are wanting to meet up with me there. One guy I talked to last year that was there. Actually, it's Cars with J-Dub. If you're not familiar with his channel, it's Cars with J-Dub. And he has a channel and he does a lot of car show coverage, and it's very high quality video footage. Very, very impressed with the quality of videos he puts out. It's like 4K looking stuff, you know what I mean? He does a good job on it. I met him last year at Starbird's. He walked up, he recognized me from my channel, introduced himself. So this year I told him I'd buy him lunch. So now I don't know for sure if he's coming, but if he does, I owe you lunch, J-Dub. But anyway, if anybody wants to buy me lunch any of the other days or come and eat lunch with me, you can do that. I don't know if I'm going to camp out with a car or not. I just don't know how it works because I've never done an all weekend indoor show. I don't really want to sit with this car day in, day out for 3 days. You know what I mean? That does not sound like a good time. I do know that I need to go there probably every day of those 3 days and at least, you know, wipe the car down, get the dust off of it or whatever, but I just don't know if I'm going to camp it. You know what I mean? I don't really want to take a tent, and a campfire, and set up marshmallows and do that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Make s'mores and that type of stuff. But anyway, the cool thing is I think it's going to be interesting to actually be able to, you know, do a little bit more than I usually do, which is, you know, look around a little bit more. I am going to do a lot of videos at the show for my channel, car show coverage. I might pick out a few guys. If I meet some guys and they're pretty cool, I'll see about doing a coverage of their car and maybe interviewing them, talk about their car, that type of stuff. I haven't done that yet. I've only done a couple of car show videos, but I'll try to do a little bit more effort in them this go around. But anyway, it was pretty awesome going last year. I got recognized for my channel by 2 different people. Now, to me, that was kind of cool. You know what I mean? Never had that happen before. I was kind of floored by it, but anyway. So, if anybody's around the area and they're, you know, going to Starbird show, hell, look me up. I should be around there somewhere. I mean, if you watch my videos, you know what I look like, you know what I mean? But anyway, I'll probably be around there somewhere maybe, but what else? There was something else I was going to cover about the car that I wanted to try to get done. I don't know if I remember what the heck that was going to be. Anyway, it's a good thing I got a list because I'm already forgetting things. But anyway, I'm pretty much done with the 4-door for now. I was doing a little bit of mock-up for the last couple of weeks on the car, doing engine mock-up stuff. I'm going to go ahead and take a lot of the stuff back off and put it back in my house. I'm just going to leave the bare engine block in here with the transmission, but I'm going to pull the carb and the AC compressor and the brake booster and all that crap back off and put it back in the house. I don't want it to walk off, if you know what I mean. But it's time to put the cover back on this because it will probably end up sitting back outside for a little bit of time while I'm working on this. I just don't have the room in this 2-car garage to work on this and this at the same time, you know what I mean? I can't open the doors on the car all the way. And I got to do upholstery work, so I'm going to need that. Also need to replace one of my light fixtures. It's completely out. The ballast was going out of that, and I put new bulbs in it about a year ago and it didn't fix it. So I need to put a whole new light fixture up there. I've actually got one of these. I've been buying these LED lights at Walmart because they're inexpensive, like they're under 20 bucks, and they put a hell of a lot more light out than those, you know, regular fluorescent lights. And I actually bought one, and I've been using it for a drop light. It is way cheaper to buy one of those and use it for a drop light than it is to buy an actual drop light, believe it or not. And when you put one of those underneath a car with that much lumen, it really lights up the entire underneath of a car so you can really see what you're doing. So I don't know if I'm going to end up using my drop light for up there or not, but I might. Who knows? But anyway, guys, I'm pretty excited. Pretty sure I can make that show pretty sure I can make that show. I mean, that car is the closest it's ever been, you know what I mean? Hopefully I can get it there, but I'm just going to enter probably, you know, I really don't know. I'm assuming they have a Tri-5 Chevy class, and if so, that's what I'm going to enter. But as far as I know, I'm not going to try the Fine 9. I don't think the car's to that level, and I don't have the money for all the stuff anyway, and I don't want to spend that kind of money on stuff that I'll only use one time. It's kind of silly. So that's where I'm at. Let's see. I'll talk about my wife. So you guys that are subscribed to the channel know, because from my video there a week or two ago, my wife ended up having a blood clot in her leg, which is still there. A piece that broke off, went through her heart, and lodged right after her heart. It lodged. So it's like not quite, I don't know if it's actually in the lung or it's like in between or something. But anyway, it already passed through the heart, but she still has a blood clot in her leg, and then she has a blood clot, you know, in that area, past the heart and in between the lung and the heart. But she's doing better. She's still not 100%. The worst part about it is, for her having that blood clot in her lung, is it's winding her, like making her short of breath. So she already has pretty bad asthma. She has inhalers and breathing machines and that type of stuff in the house. The thing is, when she gets up like out of bed to go to the bathroom or go to the kitchen or living room or whatever, she gets short of breath. And her job consists of talking on a phone all day at a desk. So she gets short of breath just talking on the phone. And if you can imagine, all the friends and family that have to call and check on her almost every day, how are you doing, how are you doing, how are you doing, she has to be on the phone and she gets short of breath. So she's doing better. I will say she's doing a hell of a lot better. But still the shortness of breath. She tried to go to work Monday, and I think she made it about 3 or 3.5 hours, and that was all she could do. She didn't go to work yesterday, and she didn't go to work today. I'm not sure when she's even going to attempt to go back yet. But anyway, so that's where she's at. I will say the swelling in her leg her leg is not near as swelled up as it was. Like when we first seen it that day that we ended up taking her to the hospital, her leg had turned bluish purple colored, and it was very, very swelled up. Her calf muscle, very, very swelled up. It is still swelled up, but it's not like it was, and it has a little bit of color, and also her feet aren't tingly. So she's been on blood thinners, so I feel she's doing a little bit better than she was. But she gets winded very easily, so I've been having to you know, be the host or the waiter, so to speak. So there's been a lot of getting her this and getting her that type of stuff, which is fine because she would do it for me, you know what I mean? But anyway, guys, I've rattled on enough here, but that is the new plan. So it is now, I'm going to call this the Starbird Crunch, and no, that's not a cereal. That is what I'm going to call it. I usually call when I go to try to get a car ready for an event, I call it a crunch or a thrash. And I've had a couple people ask me what a thrash is. So I'm just going to call it a crunch because everybody's familiar with the crunch. Because it's crunch time, you know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, you probably hear the SEMA crunch for people trying to get SEMA ready. What a name of cereal. What a line of cereals. That would make some money there. I'm not trying to deface the name, the Starbird name. I'm just, you know, it just sounds like cereal to me when I say Starbird Crunch. But that's what I'm going to call it. And I'm going to say, I'm just going to call it 68 days, but because if it was 69, which I think it's 69 today, today's pretty much over already. So this was just prep, writing stuff down, cleaning up the garage, and I've still got to take apart the stuff off the engine of the four-door, cover it up and all that kind of stuff. But that's where I'm at. So you're going to be seeing quite a few hardtop videos coming. I'm going to be doing some work on the body work and paint and stuff on the hood, some upholstery work, some door panel upholstery work. I've got to do the trunk upholstery. I've got to replace a leaf spring, the sending unit, the gas tank, and just some other little tedious crap, you know what I mean? So there'll be lots of videos coming is what I'm saying. But anyway, thanks for sticking around. If you made it this far, congratulations. Thanks for watching.